Namaste and good evening to one and all. Welcome to Leaders Connect 360's episode LC0130. Leaders Connect 360 is CSR initiative by Bija Training and organized by the Mass Leadership. My name is Janani and I am pursuing my BCom Honours degree at SRM. Leaders Connect 360 is started with a specific objective of inviting 1,000 plus leaders and create a million leaders. It is an online hub where every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. we learn from top management leaders on Zoom Live. And once in quarter in each city, we have an offline networking meet to network, support, and grow with the leaders. That's when we call it Leaders Create More Leaders. Currently, all are muted, and we will be giving you an opportunity to speak to our guest, Mr. Dhanpat Jain, National Head Leadership Development, Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited. Before you are unmuted, let me share that we are currently live on LinkedIn and this episode LC0130 is being recorded. First-time visitors may click on the WhatsApp, FB and LinkedIn link on the chat box to get updated by joining us in creating more leaders. All in the house are requested to turn on your videos, which will help in making the episode highly interactive. So, are we all ready to interact with our guest, Mr. Dhanpat Jain, and panel discussion leader, Ms. Meelloni Ankit Shah, corporate trainer and coach? Then share a thumbs up or smiley emoji in the chat box. Thank you. Before the introduction of the guest, let me also introduce Ms. Divya, corporate trainer and coach, will interact with our guest along with the panel discussion leader, Ms. Meelloni Ankit Shah. I shall welcome you all. Over to you, Ms. Divya.
Thank you very much, Janani. I appreciate all of you to join in this wonderful evening. Thank you very much for giving and sparing your time today to join us. Before we start, thank you very much, Mr. Dhanpat Jain, for joining us and Meelloni Shah for joining us as a panel discussion leader. Welcome all members and the visitors for today. So before we start the episode, I would request Arul or Janani to play the introductory video for both our panel discussion leader and our guest of honor, please. Just a moment. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please play the video of our guest. Thank you. Thank you very much, Harul, for the wonderful introduction video. It is a great pleasure, sir, by seeing the growth you have in the career you've been into, Mr. Dhanpat Jain. It is an immense pleasure for me to join you today. And I am waiting and awaiting to see what are all the learnings and takeaways I can have today. And I mean, I am really impressed by the way the career growth you had from where you started and where you are right now. So let me get impressed more with the discussion with you guys. Meelloni Shah, it's happy to see you here, Meelloni, that you are going to be a great panel discussion leader today. So let's make this event successful by having a wonderful learning experience for both of us and all of us here. Thank you very much. And I hand over the mic to Meelloni Shah here to go ahead with the panel discussion questions with our guest of honor.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much. Good evening, one and all, and welcome, Mr. Dhanpat Jain. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I welcome you to Leaders Connect.
Hi, Meelloni.
Yes, I think we have only 30 minutes, which is very little time for all, for the introduction that we've seen, and 30 minutes is going to be too less. So I'm not going to take any time, and I'm going to straight get into the questions. Are we all ready? Can we have a thumbs up on this chat screen? Okay, great. Okay, so today's topic is leadership and culture shift in organizations. So the first question would be, what does a strong organizational culture mean to you, Mr. Dhanpat? And how does it impact the overall success of an organization in your experience?
Okay, great. So thanks, Meelloni, first of all, to having me on this platform today and asking me to share my experience and my learning in the culture transformation piece. First of all, sorry, I am actually driving down. It's an emergency. I'm driving from Bangalore to Chennai, but then I'm comfortably seated in a place where I can speak to all of you. Thank you for having me. And somebody said in the beginning, I think my introduction was about my journey and my growth. I too am surprised that I have reached here today and sitting and speaking to all of you as a guest of honor. It's a privilege to be here. And I think what's important to talk about today is in the organization that I've been or the organization that I am currently, how does culture play an important role, right? I think everybody in this room, most of them would be managers or would have been leaders or are leaders today, and they understand the value of culture. So culture for me is a very simple definition. When every person in the organization, right from the top till the bottom of the pyramid, lives and speaks the same language and behaves the same way. And in totality, there is a consistency they all show. That's culture for me. Yeah. And the culture cannot be built over day. We talk about a lot of organizations that build culture. And then the word culture is very loosely used today. Yeah. And then when we ask people, why did you leave the organization? Very simple answer. Culture was not good. Right. Why are you joining that company? I've heard it's got a great culture. Right. So in both the cases, I hear the word culture. But when we ask them, what do you mean by culture? There are different views that we get. Right. Some people say that we join organizations for a good culture. And the good culture for me is, I think they have freedom at work. They care for employees. They give us the flexibility to work. The manager actually gives a lot of support. There is a lot of growth opportunity. So there are multiple options. And then when the negative responses come, that means the culture is not good on the same lines. So I think to me, culture in an organization is all of these. Yeah. But then what is important is that everybody in an organization contributes to the culture. It's not just that one leader or that one manager who is building the culture. Yeah. But what an employee sees is only that limited number of people whom he or she interacts on a daily basis. For him or her, that's the culture, and which is right in his sense or her sense. So I think that was one of the parts of the question. What was the second question you had, Meelloni? I think it was a two-part question.
Yes. So the first one is, what does a strong organizational culture mean to you? And how does it impact the overall success of an organization?
Oh, yeah. How does it impact as a success? So I think the answer is hidden in the question. When there is a strong culture, right? And if it's a positive, strong culture, it actually helps in the success. I'll give you an example. If an organization wants to drive growth of revenue by, let's say, a particular X percentage, yes, it can do by 2-3 ways. One, either by investing a lot of money in getting external expertise to help them drive that growth. Two, it can invest a lot of capital in building infrastructure. It could be men, methods, machinery. It could also be in changing processes or bringing in new processes. But what is most important is the people, yeah, who will be working on that machinery or that method or that process or on those newer digitalization that we talk about today. So I think uh, when people are not aligned to all this, yeah, to the number that you're trying to drive, then I think the success of the organization goes for a toss. And we talk about people, it's the people who build the culture, not these infrastructure, not your walls, not those beautiful, colorful infrastructure that every organization has today, that lovely cafeteria or that lovely seating space, the free office that we call, those are not the culture building elements. They are only the ambience creating, environment creating elements. So I think people are the ones who will create the culture. And if that is strong, that will lead to success, because those are the people who will use that particular infrastructure, that machinery, that laptop, that digital process to enable the organization to grow for the journey. Currently, I'm able to talk so strongly on this because we as an organization, Coca-Cola, are going through a culture transformation ourselves, because we are going to drive 2x numbers in the next 3 years, which means we'll double our revenues from what we are today in the next 3 years. To be able to do so, very simple, fundamental, what got you here will not get you there. So I have behaved very well in my organization in the last 3 years. I have done great. I have been an exceptional performer, A rating every time from my boss. But will I continue to get that? I may, but then the expectation is much more from me and from everybody, because they want double numbers. So I have to be double DJ. So my name is Dhanpat Jain, but then friends call me DJ. My colleagues call me DJ. So feel free to call that. And everybody says that in the organization, everybody has to double their way of working. Yeah, either be smart or be hard doubly. So I think that's what we are all aiming at. So that's the long answer to a short question of yours.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Exactly as you said, it eventually boils down to the people who are involved in that culture. So yes, I absolutely agree to you.
Yep.
We'll take the second question now. So according to you, how can leaders effectively drive and champion culture change within their organization? And what leadership qualities are essential for this task? When we, particularly talk about the leaders who are actually driving this change. So what do you think is really effective there?
True. Leaders are the most important piece in this whole jigsaw, because if the leaders don't live what they actually want people to practice, it will not happen. So that's role number one. Yeah, you have to role model everything. Two, I think there has to be a very safe place or a safe environment that you can create for people to learn the new behaviors and experiment with those behaviors, that the culture that you want to drive. Yeah. If that safe space is not given, people will not practice those behaviors. They will go back to what they were doing because they were happy with what they were doing and they were actually recognized for what they were doing, or rather they were having a safe space at least there. But now, if they are going to practice some new behaviors that the leaders want them to, they better get the safe space from the leaders. So the second role and the most important thing that they'll play is safe space. The leaders have a very important role of allowing people to get rid of the fear of failure. If I know that this new culture or the new process or the new infrastructure that I'm building for people may fail, allow them to do so, allow them to take the risk, empower them, and the leaders need to let people be themselves. I think setting the agenda, being the role model, and letting people be themselves is the most critical things for leaders. And last but not the least, leaders need to continuously communicate, till they get tired. And even after that, they need to get up and again communicate the next day morning on what is that culture that they want to build in the organization, and not just communicate with their own direct reports, but continuously cascading it down the line throughout. That's the most important role of a leader today, to do this culture transformation exercise and bring this change in the organization.
Yes, so agree. Fantastic, because I think communication solves most of the things. And when we are bringing about a change, when they're used to doing something which they've been doing, and now that we are looking at a change, I think it's excellently put. Communicate, make them feel safe, to make mistakes, to be wrong, and that's okay. So that
Yeah.
then the trust is more that, okay, even if I
Yeah.
fail, let me at least try. So
Absolutely.
excellent. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
And leaders need to be vulnerable too, Meelloni. Yeah, they also need to tell that I'm a human being. I'll make mistakes too. Yeah, and I depend on my team to give me that feedback. So the you'll have to learn to receive constructive feedback from your team members and fail fast and get moving.
The recent thing which I've learned from our last episode is that creating a psychological safety for our team so that it will help all of us to build together. Okay, when we are
Absolutely.
aligning towards the team and creating a psychological safety for everybody and allowing other people to ask difficult questions, the questions which is not really asked all the time,
That's true.
has to be welcomed, has to be invited. So I think that's what Ms. DJ also talks about right now.
Yeah.
I'm able to
Absolutely right.
yeah, so
Absolutely right.
very aligned towards what you're saying today, sir.
Bingo.
Fantastic. We'll move to the next question.
Sure.
Great. Okay. So, what are some common challenges and forms of resistance that leaders encounter when attempting to shift organizational culture? And how can these obstacles be overcome?
Very interesting. Yesterday we had this leadership meet in our organization, and there were top 80 leaders of the organizations, and I was part of that team. And we were speaking about this again. And interestingly, some of the challenges that we are finding today. So, when you build a culture, every organization, we are HR people, right? So we talk about competencies, right? Yeah. So there are technical competencies. We know about leadership competencies. And today we speak about something called as transversal also, right? So all these competencies also go through an overhaul. But let's say if I'm driving something and I need to build a culture of collaboration, so people will actually have to learn again what is collaboration, not the word teamwork alone. But today when I'm talking about collaboration, it's not about collaborating with me and my team only. It's about the larger organization that we were talking about collaborating, right? So we were actually exploring that, and a very beautiful example came up there of the football game, So interestingly, they asked us all that. So in this call, everybody is on mute. They can talk or they can respond to me through voice, or is it only chat?
No, if it needs to be an interactive, we can unmute all because we have.
I'm perfectly fine if the people are mindful of the muting and unmuting on time. So I'm
We'll
perfectly
make it
fine.
interactive as much as possible, sir.
Yeah, please do. So I want to ask these people, how many of you actually watch football? And if you do, how do you think the player in the field gets communicated? And who's responsible for that in terms of what's the strategy of the next game? So football is one game which I can relate to because I think that's something where it's a everyday culture building exercise that they have, so because the behaviors of the footballers have to change in every game, unlike cricket. So I just wanted to ask people if you all are comfortable taking this example of football, or I can actually take an example of other things also. So and if you all know about football even a little bit, you will be able to answer these things in terms of who are the important people in a football team. Anybody would want to talk to me about it?
A goalkeeper, that's the much thing I know about.
Yeah, so those are the players, goalkeepers, the defender, the forward. But then who else? Everyone. So who are these everyone? Can you name a few of these people? So apart from the people on the field, anybody else you think of who are important in a football team?
The man who coaches all of them, maybe?
There is a coach, whom they call a manager, in football. Anybody else?
Audience, maybe?
Okay, audience is watching the match, but part of the team, I'm saying. They are part of the team.
Team helping them for water.
So the people who will actually take the water. So there is a physiotherapist and there's a medical guy, right? So there's a medical, there's a physiotherapist, there is a coach, then there are the players, and then there are 2-3 more important people in a football team, which I have learned only while watching football. There is an analyst and there is a strategist. Yeah. Now, interestingly, it's just like an organization. There is a CEO, who's the manager, who's the coach, right? Now he knows that the next game that is going to be played by my team is with an XYZ team, and I need to have a strategy to be able to win with that team. My team has to win with that team. But before I win, I put a strategy. There is an insight, right? Now, interestingly, it is never the coach that will directly talk to the team first. He will first talk to the rest of the team outside the players. The coach will talk to the analyst, the coach will talk to the strategist, the coach will, or the manager, I can say, talks to the medical, to the physiotherapist, and they will tell that, I have seen that the team that is going to play next with us, against us, is a team that is weak on these areas, and our players have to improve on this area so that they can beat them, 3-0, 4-0, whatever the goals. And then they all together work to build the strength of the team over there. So there is a role for every person, like a trainer, the coach, or the physiotherapist, the medical guy, the analyst, the strategist. All of them have a role to play here. But then they keep communicating amongst each other. And it's not that all the five will go and communicate to the team players. No, the players will not get communicated by all five. Only one communication will go to them, but the communication will be common across the organization. So that's a most critical piece when it comes to leadership today. They find this as a resistance, this collaboration as a resistance today. Yeah, that I am a supply chain person, I am a sales guy, I will only talk to sales team, or I'll talk to a finance team to get the discounts or the numbers that I have to get, right? I don't want to talk to a stock person. I don't want to talk to an inventory guy. I don't want to talk to a warehouse guy. That's not my job, right? But then it's not like that anymore. It's going to be cross-functional collaboration. So first thing I find is called collaboration. And when there is a change, the most important thing that happens, any guesses? What happens when there is a change in an organization?
Fear?
What do you observe the most? Okay, because of fear, what? Because of non-acceptance. Very nice, very nice. You are there. Non-acceptance, fear, and because of this, what?
Maybe
Conflict may happen.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much, friend. Conflict. Yeah. So I think the most important thing that we need to ensure is help people manage conflicts. Now, what do most of the people do is, because they were comfortable working in some space, they were able to avoid those conflicts, saying that this will be taken care of. In Hindi, they say, ye apne aap theek ho jayega. Yeah. So in Tamil, they say, no, utrpa, number wala gadiyate. Amatupanga. So salespeople will say, let the manufacturing take care. It's their wish. Yeah, the production is not happening. Why should we worry? They should give us the product. We'll sell it. No, that is the role of a leader, to get those conflicts resolved and manage. So conflict avoidance is not the solution, but conflicts will happen when there is a change, and especially when there's a culture transformation that's happening. So conflicts, collaboration, and the most important of all is accountability. Everybody has to own that number that you have trying to drive in an organization when you're transforming. Right? It's not your job or his job or my job. It's everyone's job to get that number and help us. So accountability, thinking like an entrepreneur, right? Accountability, conflict management, and collaboration. These three will play a very, very important role when it comes to resistance from people and getting them to change that mindset.
Excellent. So
long answer, I'm sorry.
No, absolutely no. It really, in fact, covers the entire, all the views of it. And basically, a leader really needs to actually prove that he's a leader, and that's when the accountability and everything comes in. And when he's actually modeling it, it's it just, the entire organization, it just spreads and flows, and they see it and they learn from it and they cope with it, and then slowly they thrive, and then they accept the new change. So excellent. Thank you so much for that answer.
Thank you, Meelloni.
We'll move to the next question. So we've been talking about the resistance. We've been talking about how can the leaders be effective. Now the next question would be, culture is often intangible, right? So how do organizations measure and assess the success of culture transformation efforts? And what key performance indicators or benchmarks do you recommend?
Okay, great. So before I answer this question, I would like to know, in the minds of the people who are listening to me, what, according to you, while we speak about culture is all about behaviors, right? And some of them would actually agree with me, saying that behaviors are very difficult to measure. We can observe behaviors, but measuring them may be a challenge. So yeah, so I can see, culture is often intangible, as somebody saying. So culture is intangible. You're right. Yeah. But then, what do you think could be the best measure to find whether culture is changing or transforming? Anybody?
One could be a 360-degree feedback.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else?
Transparency.
Transparency. He says
Transparency.
transparency. Yeah.
Transparency. Okay. Okay. How do you measure transparency? We need to check.
I would say impactful change in numbers. When the behavior changes, automatically the impactful change happens and the number shows.
I think Divya is a businessman. She thinks like a businessman, At the end of the day, why did I want to change culture? Why did I want to transfer culture? I am a businessman. I want to make money. I'm here to have a market share. If my market share is growing by X percentage that I wanted to, I think I'm successful in. It didn't happen just like that, right? Yeah, something I've done. My market share was 30% throughout in the last 3 years. And suddenly this year it's become 45%. How come? What happened? Magic wand? There could be some socioeconomic factors, but not all. The 15% growth is huge. And that could be, if you put a lot of energy and effort into changing culture of organization through a lot of awareness, through a lot of communication, I think that worked for you. And that's one key metric that every leader would want to measure. And then interestingly, I'll tell you, culture transformation will not take place in a year also. So at the end of the year, if your market share has become 5% or 3% growth, you can say, yeah, some of it I attribute to culture change. But you should have milestones to validate whether you're in the right direction. If we are saying we want to change the culture to reach this number in the next 3 years, every year what will tell you that you're actually in the right direction? Have some validation points, some milestones. So say that by 5% or 7% I'll grow. Yeah, from a 10% market share to a 15% to a 17% to a 20%, and finally in 3 years' time, 30% market share. Yeah, so that could be one way of actually checking on the needle movement, and that's the only way to validate. Constant feedback from organization. Yeah, like Prakash shared that it could be 360-degree, it could be a culture survey, it could be a leadership. You call these cafe sessions with leaders where they talk to their team members, skip level meetings to just have a pulse of the team members of what they feel in terms of the culture change. And of course, your external organizations are there to do your employee insight surveys and the GPTWs of the world. That could give you a sense of whether you're in the right direction, your scores are improving in those areas of which you wanted to. Yeah, that's the best way to measure success or culture change.
Excellent. So culture is often intangible, but numbers will speak. So
Yeah,
that's where
exactly.
we can look, and that's where we can, take that forward and understand and correlate it with,
True.
is it correlating with the culture change, and is that bringing about the shift in the
True.
numbers?
I just got reminded of one of my previous organizations where I worked. I'll not name the organization. They said retention will be one number if a culture is changed. Our attrition was at 25%. So I said it's a very good way of actually identifying we are changing culture. But unfortunately, in year one, the numbers went up to 30% attrition.
Oh my God.
From 25. So we were all shocked. We said we are in the wrong direction. But then there was some interesting insight we got that because this culture changed, there are a lot of people who could not adjust to this new culture. And those are the people who left. And their scores on some of the areas that they had given, that particular team or department that gave the scores low on certain leadership elements, were the people who left. They were the cat on the wall, And that was a very interesting insight. And then we would say, okay, we are safe. Okay, at least only the people who were not wanting to be part of this culture drive were the ones who left. And then year 2, again, it came back to 25. Year 3, it came to 20. And slowly it came to 15 at the year 4. And then we were saying, okay, now, and because we brought in fresh people, fresh mindset, and then we trained our people who were wanting to perform better and the high potentials. And that's where we saw that the whole culture change exercise worked for us and the attrition numbers came down. Otherwise, in year 1, if you see that your culture is getting you wrong results, your change transformation exercise, then you will actually want to take a step back. Sometimes people shy away from that. And then they say, oh, no, let's not do that. Let's go back to what we were. And interestingly, that leadership was strong. They didn't take that measure.
Great. So the analysis of it is equally important.
Very important. Very important.
Before we, decide anything, the most important is analyzing it and comparing and seeing
Yeah.
how much it connects to the changes that have been made.
That's where leaders play a very important role, That's where leaders play an
Absolutely.
important role.
Yes, Divya, you were saying something.
No, I was just trying to add on something because with the kind of cultural change we're trying to bring, where I am in learning and development department, where I am a consultant in different companies, people resist. In coaching language, we very commonly call it as willingness, right? So if you do not have the willingness to find and create the acceptance within yourself, I think that's where the impact happens. We know exactly whether the willingness is working out or not, and we can easily weed out people there. Even though we look at people in a very positive aspect, maybe we were wrong sometimes.
True.
That is something I recently have gone through with the a couple of cultural changes when we were trying to make.
Interesting, Divya. Interesting insight.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the last question. So in today's diverse workplaces, how can leaders ensure that cultural shifts are inclusive and embrace diversity? What practices promote inclusivity within the culture?
Yeah, this is very important now because, nowadays a lot of focus on diversity is there. I think in earlier times, the word diversity, inclusivity was not so popular and common. It was very much restricted to just male and female ratio in the organization, and how can it encompass these two and work with that. But today we are talking about diversity not from the gender perspective alone, but from age, from various walks of life with experience that people come to. And I think embracing that is the most important part. So we have a separate function in our organization called the DEI nowadays, and these are the people who actually act as anchors for us to help us. So what we do is any initiative that we take in the organization, we have them as part of those meetings. It could be a strategic initiative. It could be an operational initiative. We have them as part of our meetings because they think from a different angle. Yeah. Very unconsciously, sometimes we are, you have heard of this word called unconscious bias, right? Yeah. So we end up doing that as leaders who are been in the system for 15, 20 years. Now we end up doing that. And very consciously, they help us practice the new ways of working in the diverse culture, in the diverse and embrace the diversity. So they are our moral keepers. They keep telling us and keep nudging us that, hey, look, this initiative, please ensure that you also have these people involved. Otherwise, you will be leaving them out. Please also ensure that you invite these people in the conversations. Please ensure that you do something for these also. So that's where we actually take their help and we build that piece. And that would take, I think, that also is a culture building exercise, by the way. And that also would take us time to embrace and to change parallelly. If you're on a transformation, ensure that your DEI also is transforming along with. And the success of the organization is only going to happen together. You can't take it as a sequential activity that, okay, today let me work on this. I will take care of diversity next year. No, diversity is there to be and there to live with you. You can't live without it today. So you better embrace that and learn to live with it, learn to grow with it and help them grow. That's more important today. Yeah. So a lot of changes are happening in organizations today that I see and I hear. So it's very important. It's very, very important.
Excellent. Thank you so much for really so many good insights and such a wide way of looking at it. Like it's like a whole 360-degree way of looking at it. Thank you so much, Mr. Dhanpat.
Thank you, Meelloni.
We'll open it to the group for questions. Or do we have a quiz
so
before
before that, let me conduct a small quiz.
Yes, please. So I'll hand over the mic to Divya. Thank you.
Thank you, Meelloni. I appreciate all the effort and the questions modulation you've created. It's a wonderful way of understanding how the culture will impact the organization and what are all the resistance and challenges we can go through. Thank you for all the questions you've asked, and it's an interesting topic for all of us to learn and hear. As a part of the episode, I would conduct a small quiz for all of our members and visitors to see them how attentive they all were. So in that case, I have created a small question where it goes in two models. I will type the question in the chat box. You can either write the answer or you can, unmute yourself and say it. Rather, we prefer to write in the chat it'll be a little better, is what I believe. So the question goes like this. When DJ was talking about challenges and resistance, he was talking about three various components or attributes. I would want at least one, if you could name one of what are the challenges and resistance, how can you overcome challenges and resistance by using these attributes. So the question is open. Question is more of for you to overcome the challenges when the cultural change is happening. Please share one attribute. Okay, Suresh says collaboration. Giri Selvaraj says collaboration. Wonderful. Let me find out from others also. He said a couple of other important points as well. So people who say collaboration, can you tell me what exactly collaboration he was talking about? He was mentioning a couple of collaborations as well. Not only team collaboration, not only my team collaboration. He was telling, many things. Yeah. Someone says accountability as well. Sir, I'm not very sure how your name is pronounced. So how do I call you? GD, sir. How do I call you, sir? Okay, he says accountability, collaboration. I'm looking for one more. Any definition of collaboration?
So this exam is not for you all. It's for me. When you test the students, the teacher is actually tested.
Don't worry,
it'll
I've
show
been
how
an
effective was I in communicating. It's good. So guys, save me.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it up to Suresh as well, just to make sure. I am accepting collaboration for one good reason. Of course, he made it as a point to say collaboration is the first attribute. He was talking about cross-functional collaboration and different venue collaboration as well. However, I'm giving it to Suresh because he's been a fastest fingers first. So congratulations, Mr. Suresh, for answering the question. Appreciate. Giri Selvaraj also says communication. Yes, sir. That is one of the attributes which he was talking about. So to make it a little simpler, I have mentioned as cross-functional collaboration and communication, conflict management, and accountability. These are the three things which he was mentioning when he was talking about how to overcome the challenge and resistance when the cultural change happens. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate the participation, Mr. Suresh. Congratulations, and the team will contact you for your award or the gift. Great. Moving forward, it's open forum for everybody. We have we have time. We'll take about 3 questions. If anybody wants to have or ask question, please lift your hands or raise your hands in the forum. I will unmute you and you can go ahead and ask questions to our guest of honor today. So the forum is open for everybody to ask questions. If you have, yes, Mr. Devarayan, sir, you can ask questions. Arul, could you please unmute Mr. Devarayan, sir?
It's already unmuted.
Great,
Thank
sir.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Rather, it's not a question, kind of. First, hello, my hand. Okay, so it's a kind of appreciation for Dhanpat. Actually, I appreciate Dhanpat. Since though he's traveling, he has made his time for all the participants, and though he's in emergency, he told in the beginning, and he made his time for everyone because people will be waiting for him to listen to. So you made your time on the road. I could see the lorries crossing and all this stuff, right? So I
think yes, you are right in saying that I have taken out time, and I'm thankful that you observed that. But if I wouldn't have done this today, Prakash would have blacklisted me from his list forever, because this is the second time I would have ditched him. The first time actually I was not well, genuinely. It's a month ago. I was sick and I couldn't speak. My throat was gone. I'm still recovering from that. You could hear me cough. Yeah. But today, I had to rush home. So I said, okay, I'll take this on the way. But literally the time just flew by, and I got a call from Prakash and Arul reminding me that next half an hour you'll be connecting. So I thought, no, let me stop anywhere where there's a good signal. I was driving slowly on the highway, stopped by. Thanks for observing, and I'm very happy that you liked me speaking to all of you.
Good. Thanks. That's it.
Thanks, Devarayan. Thanks for being around.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, highly appreciated. Where I also noticed a couple of cars and everything going, and I mean, you were very focused in answering as well. Like, I think we are all pleasure to have you here. to hear you talk
Same here,
about
same here.
things. Great. You have anybody have any other questions? So we can ask Sir Mr.
Yeah,
Dhanpat
Divya,
Jain.
let me take up a question.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Dhanpat. Thanks for joining in today. That's really been great.
Yeah,
I'm
Prakash.
Prakash here.
Yeah, Prakash.
So I am also traveling, but thanks. I thought I'll just take up this one question, Dhanpat. Wonderfully shared. I was really happy about what you spoke and excellently how that culture shift should happen. Is it possible to share one more point here, Dhanpat? How this culture shift down the line it goes? So maybe from the top management to mid management or mid to the junior management.
Yeah.
Here, how do we
Good.
really play a role? So this is where we feel a lot of challenges come.
Absolutely
And
right.
how this could be arrested, if this could be adding, maybe you can share your views which will add value here.
Oh,
Dhanpat.
yeah. I'll be more than happy because I'm part of that exercise right now and it's working very well here in this organization. You're rightly said, it's good to speak about culture in a closed room of leaders. And we are very happy to see that the leaders are collaborating, the leaders are feeling accountable and they are changing the ways of their working. But nothing will happen if your frontliners don't change the way they work. If they don't start collaborating, if they don't feel accountable, if they don't get into conflicts and manage conflicts well, I don't think so the culture has changed for you, right? I'm just using these three pillars of behavioral change in my context today as an example. You may have other behaviors also that may come out as your low areas in any other organization. But yeah, how do we do it? It has to be done in a structured way. Starts with the top leader first pledging that we will be in this journey and provide that safe environment for everybody in the organization who wishes to be a part of this new culture and give them that space to that is cascaded with the help of these leaders again, where we ensure that while the L&D or the HR team play the role of a catalyst, but there is a change leader from the leadership team that is part of that communication event. It could be through a classroom session, a virtual event, or anything that we want to do, but it has to be there for at least a couple of hours to build in that seriousness in the next level of leaders. The next level of leaders now become your torchbearers. Because your leaders at the top, the CXOs, and you call them, the SLT, the senior leadership team, they may not have all the time to go down till the 5,000th person and communicate. They may record their videos and give it to you, but who will go and communicate to that person in the front line? Now, the middle manager's role is to go through a train the trainer and seriously learn those behaviors and try and practice those at workplace with some stories, some examples of their own. Give that time to them to practice. And our role as an HR, an L&D team, a talent team is to ensure that we provide that the armor, that armory, the weaponry, the equipments for that person to learn those culture elements that we want to imbibe in the organization so that this person tomorrow can go and share it to the frontliners. Now, this is the most important piece, the middle piece. And as you all know, most of us are today in that middle management. We are like sandwich. We are neither on top, neither at the bottom. We have to communicate from the top what we learn in the language that the top management wants to say, but translate that into the language what the frontliners can listen to and understand, more importantly. So I think that is the most critical piece in the organization, the middle management, who sometimes I would say that their roles are sometimes, thankless jobs. Their job is to get work done, but it's so difficult to manage the people in the front line because of a lot of challenges. It could be skill issues, will issues, many challenges that they face, and they have to get the work done and convert this vision exercise to an operation exercise. And that is the space where I think we as consultants, as leaders, as L&D, as HR play a very important role to support them and give them that space to learn and practice. And then your actual journey of cascading down the front line starts. And there they actually do it as teams of 2, 3. They go and train the frontliners in the new behaviors. So that's one exercise, right? They train them, they share the stories that they have heard from the leaders, their own success stories in the culture transformation exercise. And then the frontliners start learning from their own leaders. Now, the second piece is You also get external support in terms of socializing the entire thing, either through standees, through those danglers, through those screensavers, on what the new transformation exercise is about. On a periodic basis, keep nudging people and reminding them that this is the culture that we are trying to build, and hope you're practicing this at workplace through certain teasers, through certain mails, whatever way you want, or through WhatsApp. Maybe there are some other gamified modules that you create for people to self-learn and reflect on whether they are practicing those. And there are multiple other things that you can come up with on the branding exercises for people to imbibe. And it's not a one-time activity. Like I said in the beginning, communicate, communicate, communicate. And just not for the leaders, not for the middle management, but as an organization, everybody needs to communicate and have that common language of speech. So if you're all wanting to drive accountability, please use word accountability in every meeting. Let it be. Some people will laugh at you, but it's okay. Unless and until you don't build that, behavior change will never happen. So that's the long answer to, again, your short question, Prakash. Hope I have done justice to that.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Thanks very much for sharing that, Dhanpat.
Yeah.
I really appreciate. Good one.
Thank you.
Over to you,
Thank
Divya,
you.
if anybody else has any other question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prakash. So we can afford to take one more question. If anybody has any question, please raise your hands in the gallery. We can take it forward.
Giri has a question. I see
Yes,
his
Giri has a
hand
question.
raised.
Yes.
My headset. Anyway, thank you, Dhanpat sir, Dhanpat Jain.
You can call me DJ Giri.
DJ. Okay.
That's easy, right?
Yeah. In BNA, we will say that culture eats a strategy as a breakfast.
Oh,
like that.
Lovely point. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very good point. Really, I love now the culture transformation I have implemented in my office. The culture versus strategy. Without culture, there is no strategy.
Absolutely.
So that is the only thing I did. And my company I have started earlier, before 1 year, I have recruited one HR. He totally spoiled the entire environment. So now I have recruited new people. Almost 6 months, I am building the culture. Then only I can go for. I have built the culture. I am building the culture, and parallelly the strategies I have been improving.
Absolutely.
So first I did is how to write the task, like that. Every day I have to write down the task, and what is the timing they are doing, the time tracker, and also the work has been how to split, like that, urgent, which is important, and then which 3 things has to be focused, and then habits. Because
I think we lost Giri. Giri's, yeah.
I am attending in the mobile. Sorry, I have received one call.
No problem. I'm on also mobile. Don't worry.
Yeah, but whatever the things, almost 3-4 questions you have answered very well. Still today the communication, and there are what are the languages? What are the you are giving something for the highly the middle management and top management, how to connect all these people, and really I learned so many things. But I have no questions. But still my 20% of the learning is that every day I will be planning for 20% learning. Today I can sleep very well because the 20% learning I got from you, and I
thank you so much. I feel honored, Giri, that I added value to your learning. I'm very happy. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we should thank this organization that is helping us come together.
Yes, sir. Yes, DJ.
Thank you very much, Giri. That was a wonderful feedback from you. I appreciate all that learning which you're going to take away today. I mean, I'm curious to ask one question. Please don't mind, Prakash and Arun. So we were talking about conscious bias and DIA. I am a fan of DIA and I would interfere wherever it is possible. So I'm also taking up courses in that matter. So can you throw some light on how these two collaborate and help us to, you were talking so much about please get awareness. If not, let them grow. You also grow along with them. Could you please throw a little bit of light about how this conscious bias and DIA work together?
See, frankly speaking, I am a purist. I have also come from 23 years of experience now. I belong neither there nor here. Today, I'm able to speak to a Gen Z person and a leader also. But unfortunately, I'm in the middle. So many a times I fail to communicate the way they want me to communicate, because a best communicator is somebody who can communicate in the language that they speak, right? So I have a lot to learn myself. Right? When you talk about diversity, not just about Gen Z, we talk about LGBTQ. How do you actually reciprocate and respond to them? Be very careful about the choice of words you use now. Be very conscious about the things. Very simple things. I remember, Prakash would also remember, and any of you are from the L&D team. We used to have a woodcutter story, sometime we use that,
Yes.
there's
We
a
still follow
woodcutter
that,
used
sir.
to,
We still
we
follow
all
that.
use that, right? I was amazed when one of the youngsters came to me and said, DJ, can you actually change the story? Can you change the example? I said, why? What's wrong? He said, don't cut wood in your stories. It's not good. He was a green environment friendly guy. Actually, I took it lightly at that time. But then when I went home, I thought about it. I said, he's right. He's right. And I should be very careful about the choice of stories that I use now. It should be very neutral
True.
in nature,
True.
which is acceptable by all walks of life. Uh, Examples that we talk about, I'm sure most of us say that, when we use an example, we say that he has to learn. He has to learn. No, stop he. Use a she first. Why he always? Yeah, because gone are the days when it was only he who was working, he who was bringing the money. It's now she is working. She is the breadwinner of the home too. So please encompass and embrace that. These are small examples I'm giving you. A lot of things. The young generation today don't like to be uh, given a job, a routine, monotonous job. Be very mindful of that. Give them new things every time that you can. Yeah, try and change that. Recognize them. Instant gratification. I think there is so much to learn. Right from the language that they use to the clothes that they wear to the things that they love at workplace. I'm not talking about the Gen Z. I'm talking about everybody whom you're working with. And now it's more important to understand what just not women want, but what everyone wants. Yeah. And as a leader, it's very, very important to be able to live with everyone. And it's not necessary to keep everybody happy, but at least don't make everybody sad.
Correct. Wonderfully put, sir. I think we all need to learn how to use the choice of words very carefully and how to treat everybody equally. Because to be very honest, just one thing I want to share here is that I have a 6-year-old at home, and when she says, "Mama, why you put bindi, but daddy is not putting bindi?"
There you go.
So I am like, okay, I don't know how to answer. What I told her is, it's his choice. If he wants, he can put. Nobody's stopping him. It's so as you have your own choices of living. You can do whatever you want.
Very
So
true.
for me to come from where my mom was and where I am right now, it took a toll. It took probably a lot of knowledge and experience for us to clear. Wonderfully good. I mean, like I said, you've been a wonderful guest of honor today, DJ, and I'm impressed as well. Thanks,
I'm more than
Meelloni.
happy.
Thanks. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your effort while you're traveling. Also, you've been a part of all this. Great.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Arul, for making this
Thank you
happen.
very much, everybody, for joining us
Yeah,
today.
thanks, Dhanpat, always.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please join
Good night.
us on the
Bye-bye.
Leaders Connect LinkedIn if possible. Please join us every Wednesday for a beautiful discussion and
Sure.
network
Love
connect.
to.
Great.
Love
Thank
to.
you very much. Appreciate it. I'll leave you all today. Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Keep smiling. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much once again.
I shall play the
Okay, weekends. Arun, you were saying something?
vote of thanks video, yes.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Arul, for the video. So now that we all are here, if you would like to
It's
you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Please unmute yourself or put yourself in a camera and please network. I see a lot of new people here, or maybe I see them for the first time. Giri sir, I'm just meeting you now. Would you want to introduce yourself here in the network area? Ramesh, I'm seeing you for the first time. Srinivasa, Kumar, and Suresh, if you could introduce yourself and network among each other, it'd be nice.
let's go by people on the screen, man. Go, Mr. Girish first. Yes, Mr. Girish sir. Hi,
Giri
Girish sir.
Go ahead, Arun.
Yes, Mr. Girish is here. Hi, sir.
Hi, Arul. Thank you.
How are you, sir? Thanks for joining today's episode. How are you?
Sure. Really, every Wednesday is a highly appreciable. Appreciate all the team and really the 20% of the learning. I am waiting for this Leaders Connect 360-degree.
Thank you, sir.
I really thank Mr. Prakash and Arul and all the team and Divya especially today, and also one of the I don't know that another.
Meelloni.
Yeah, Melanie, the question she has asked, really, it's very insightful. I learned so many things today. Okay, coming to my introduction, myself, Giri, people also call me as water doctor. So I have two verticals. One is water and water treatment, and second one is Green Power Corporation and Technology.